Hey everyone, it's Armstrong here from Other Miniatures. Today, instead of doing the usual daily builds, I want to show off my entire Gaslands collection thus far. It turned out that I have quite a little box of them all together after I took them out of the shelf, and I still have, the pin-up girls standing to the side. And as well, this is going to give me a good excuse to dust them off because, they are standing on the shelf collecting dust. So, yeah, let's get onto the table and see what I really have by now. And here we have it. The first piece is my one and only biker. It's a 3D printed piece that I painted in, very simple color scheme, and base it on a acrylic plate, which is actually a nail display board. Yeah, and I'm sorry if my camera gonna be refocusing constantly, but I cannot actually fix it for some reason. So this is one of my first builds. It's very heavily inspired by what do you call him, Frankenstein from Dead Race. Yeah. At the time, I was watching a lot of builds on YouTube, and the guy that I was watching was using a lot of decals. So that's why this build have a decals on the front, and a couple of other builds have decals as well. But you can see you have a tomb in the back, you have some ram in the front, a armor plating in the windows, and a machine gun on the roof. Which is, it was a cool build. But, drilling all of the holes necessary was a nightmare. And in here I have, I'm gonna show you the triplets. Yeah, this is first of the triplets. You have some skulls on the back, a camo plating, the ripped out doors that are just covered by an armor plate, and extra fuel, some more skulls, and nicely covered back, as well as the, come on, this used to be opening, it still opens, so that's good. Yeah, let's get a second of the triplets. No, that's not this one. Where is he now? Here. No. Oh, there's too many of the cars, looking similarly. This is the second of the triplets. That's exactly the same car. I didn't even change the paint job. I just cut off the front, armor it up, add a lot of flags and stuff. And, again, this is a very early build from the times when I still was drilling every single car to disassemble it. And I cannot find the third triplet. Oh my goodness, that's disastrous. Yeah, I think that the third triplet didn't get finished yet. That's okay. Alright, so this one is done showing off, yeah. Let's go with this one. This one never got a video of by himself. I actually painted the inside, I did do the driver, and I spent hours applying different paints to it. I couldn't decide what I want to do with it. I wanted to look somewhat like he's very battered and that the guy was actually fixing up the plates as much as he could, and just being a very simple, very easy car. Some splashes of blood, but I wanted to look like it is painted in the colors of a flag of some country. So I think that I achieved it somewhat, but like I said, this was a build that I never truly even planned to make video about. Yeah, it was just a side project. And now for something more fun. This is one of the guys that have decals on the door. You can see that they have different color doors, so they was changed. And I use a lot of this, what do you call it now? Packing tape for Amazon stuff to make the bonnet and the boot cover. And very simple, very easy build. I think that I have actually a video of it on my channel. But it is still one of my favorite builds, as it is simple, it is fully scratch build, there is no 3D printed parts on it. Yeah, and as much as I enjoy 3D printing, Not everyone have 3D printers, so yeah. And let's go with the Buzzard Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah, the driver in this one would really struggle to see anything because of the giant I-beams being stuck to the roof and to the hood. Yeah, but there is a small gap where he probably kind of sort of can see something. Yeah, I don't blame him for ramming into anything. Yeah, it would be very, very expected of him to do. Again, a simple build without any 3D printed parts, which I'm very happy about. I'm just wondering, do I have more Buzzards in here? Oh, this is probably one of my, like old favorite cars as well. It's my Hillbilly Mobile. Yeah, it's just a truck that I cut in half at one of my homemade caravans. Yeah, and just marry them together, do some armor plating. No weapons on this one. Yeah, it was just one of the flavor builds for me. So it have some wooden wall and a, what do you call it, definitely a chimney added to it. Yeah, and it is in my own opinion, very cool build. Now for a classic Gaslands build. Yeah, this one is a, what do you call it, bone shaker that I removed from its base, added some tracks that I scratch built. Those are completely scratch built from plastic card and a cotton buds, I think, and some pieces of piping. Yeah, and then painted in very bad, somewhat deserty color scheme. Yeah, I'm not very proud of this color scheme, but this car is proudly standing on the shelf, as well as boasting a decal on the door. Yeah, let's get a next one. Let's go with the Buzzard. Next Volkswagen. Next Buzzard. Again, a lot of spikes. This one, I did want the spikes to be very firmly attached to the car, so I added a lot of baking soda, which looks like welds around. Yeah, so I have fun with it. And again, a early build. A lot of plastic art, but nothing 3D printed. The hood ornament is made out of a quad. The covers for the wheels are covers from quad, and then a lot of pipes. And I don't have a clue what is this scoop on the roof. Yeah. Again, this car doesn't boast any weaponry. It is just armored, and it have boosted engine, I guess. Yeah. And I loved building it. People was commenting about how many engines and how many cylinders this one have, and I love it. Yeah. Sorry for putting my hand constantly into the viewport. But now I was actually thinking that one of my previous builds was the only police cars that I have, but I was completely wrong. I have this one, which have a tiny gun on the roof, is extremely armor plated, and is carrying extra wheels for himself. And it is one of my Warden team. I completely forgot about this one, and I have another one that I forgot. So let's just introduce his friend. Yeah, this one is somewhat of a communication car for my Warden team. It have all the communication array, a lot of boosting wires or whatever, and a small plasma gun on the front. Yeah, and this one didn't even require really painting. I just dirtied it up and left it as it was. Yeah, and I'm not really sure that I actually make a video about it. So yeah, and now something a little bit newer. Yeah, this one is one of my sort of kind of traders, slash racers. He have barrels on the back, wheels on the back, and a lot of bags on his roof, boasting a machine gun sitting on the hood, couple of skulls, and big bladed ram in the front. And believe me, we are not even through half of the cars yet. And now this is one is I think about it as more of a family car. Yeah, I converted it, with the luggage on the top, plasma gun on the hood, some skulls, to scare the people. But when you look at it, it looks like it is, post-apocalyptic family going on the holidays. Yeah, and it have a pinup girl on the door. So there we go. First of the pinup girls, I guess. Yeah, but I have a lot of fun building it. And like there's armor plates on one of the wheels. There is a shield from skeletons. The armor plates are actually scratch built just from plastic art. Yeah. And oh, okay, my first monster truck. Not so monstrous, but it's still big. Yeah. It boasts the big front ram, a minigun, some extra luggage, a little bit of armor, and nose. Yeah, in the side. Weathering, you can actually see the difference in between my paint jobs and weatherings, when I progress through the builds, and I build faster, and it just looks different on each generation of the cars. Yeah. And again, this monster truck, I don't know how he see in front of him. Yeah, I hope that he see anything, but I wouldn't be counting on that because of the giant ram. This one is one of the crappy cars. I just added a coil from a PC in the back of it. Some piece of the PC in the back of it, again on the, as a canister. And 3 rockets from Space Marines as a, I would say, rocket launcher. And some engine from other cars, so I don't really know from what. But for a car that costed me like 50 cents, it turned out really, really great. So no, I'm proud of this one. And come on, what's next? Oh wow, this one. Yeah, this one is quite heavily converted. I have both wheels switched, some armoring, some barrels, a giant ram in the front made out of pipes, a gun on the roof, and some decals on the side as well. This is from the decals are from just nail art decals, so cheapo. I always look for a cheap ways to do this stuff, and nail art on one of those pages like AliExpress is really, really cheap. And let's go with the next Volkswagen Beetle. This one I scratch built the engine and the cooler in the front. I added a rocket launcher from Chaos Space Marines Defiler, I think, and a crew member, throwing grenades or molotovs, just for fun, and some small ram in front of it, nose as well. And you can see that it is boasting one of my favorite colors, which of course is yellow. Yeah. And this one, my desert rat. Yeah, it have 2 giant wheels in the front, 1 giant wheel in the back, a chain holding everything together, some extra luggage, in the back as well. It is very dusty. The weathering isn't actually very great, but I was still learning how to do better weathering. But generally the car is actually quite cool looking with all of this little mesh, wrapping around the wheels and working as a cover for them. Oh, come on, what do we have in here? Okay. So I think that this one, could be a little bit of Fallout 4 inspired with the giant cannon on the side. The piece actually isn't a cannon for anything. I don't know what it is. It just looks like a cannon, so I attach it. And again, it is a cheapo car that costed me like 50 cents. I added massive wheels from a quad that I bought. Again, very cheap quad, and a lot of flags and melta bombs that I actually cast myself, because for my own needs I ain't gonna be buying a ton of melta bombs from a piece, sellers. And this one now, I'm not sure that I made a video on that. Well, I'm sure that I made the footage for it. but I don't think that I ever actually make video. I think that there was something wrong with the footage and I never posted the video itself. But the car is very lightly converted. I only added the skulls on top, and then I added a Necron Shield which I drilled inside and put the guy inside as well, and added this little bit of coil thing in the back. Yeah, so very simple build, a little bit of weathering, and that was it. Yeah, I'm running out of space next to the spin table. This is one of the more recent builds, a very simple one, Necron gas flyer, a plating on window and in the front, and some 3D printing support as a wheel cover, and what do you call this now, a wire connector as a turret mounted gun. Very simple, very quick, didn't require much painting, a little bit, just a tiny bit of weathering, as I wanted this one to be more of a pristine build than anything else. Now let's switch to flyers, and I will just show the bottom of it as it is detailed. Yeah, this is one of my very first flyer. It was a, I think, Lamborghini. I just added some rocket boosters and this huge fuel tanks underneath it, and then some small thrusters and mesh to cover the wheel wells, so it looks like it was first a normal car, and then someone took it upon themselves to convert it. Yeah, and I have a lot of fun building it, so no reason to hate it. This one, again, I actually use only 3D printed parts for. So I have machine guns 3D printed, a boosters 3D printed, and some extra power sources 3D printed attached to it. I love the color of the car so much that I didn't change it. I kept it as it was. I didn't even dirty it up too much. And I still need to change the base, but you can see in here that I added some wires hanging from it, and there is a small jet engine in the back as well underneath it. And this one is probably my most Fifth Element inspired car. As a gun on the top, I just used some sort of thingy from the computer. I used a Space Marines vents, backpack vents, as a small thrusters, and then pieces of pipes as the bigger ones, and of course some capacitors in the back to create this energy packs, whatever. Yeah, and how you can see it's of course busting a one doors that are from a different car. So again, like I said, this is a Fifth Element inspired build, and probably one of my favorite, probably just because of the paint job, really. And next flyer, there is nothing special underneath it. Yeah, to be completely honest, I don't remember when I did it and why and whatever. It was just one of those cars that was sitting around and needed to be converted. I added a minigun to it and some thrusters, some wire coiling around the sides, and then just armor it up, and that was it. Yeah, when I was picking the cars from the shelf, I was looking at that and I was like, did I really build that one? Because I didn't remember. And here's my most favorite flyer thus far. Yeah, and this is because I spent the most time on it. It was a rat rod, I think, that I cut the front off, built a new engine for, and then I decided to add a flying engines because I was looking at some pictures, inspirational pictures for flying cars. So I scratch built those front engines, added a lot of pipes, add just small thrusters in the back, and then painted it. Those blue spots are supposed to be remainders of the paint, and the orange supposed to be rust. But I think that it just kind of didn't work perfectly as I planned it. Maybe just a little bit of black lining towards this, or maybe metallic lining towards this blue spots would actually fix this up. And of course it is busting a quite big gun, which is supposed to be mounted on a Imperial Knight, so it's not a pushover anyway. And what next? Next flyer. Yeah, again, there is not much to see underneath, but I just wanted something teal. Yeah, teal. Well, turquoise. I think it's turquoise. So I just, armored up the back of it, I think, and added some Necron pieces. I think it's Necron. I'm actually not 100% sure. As a wings, but I used the Necron Shield as a main gun for a second time at that stage. And just did a simple paint job, added a flying stand. Actually, I will change all of the flying stands to the, acrylic ones in the future just to have it looking better. Yeah. And this one, giant ram in front, a tombstone that I actually flip around because it fits better on the car. In the back, a lot of armor plating, and a Necron Gauss rifle flare, I don't know, something, just to, add some firepower. But, when you see this one, you know that he really invested in protection, more than in offense. And now something very, very new. Yeah, my water barrel for the truck. Yeah, heavily Fury Road inspired. It is a very recent build, and I'm actually happy about it. It's turned out very nice, and it was so easy to build. And from 14 Days of Gaslands, one of my buggies, that I actually have two of them, yeah, because I built one and I lost footage, and then I built a second one because I have two of the cars. So this is one of them. It turned out very well, and it was very simple and fun to build, and all of the splotches of blood actually make it look much more menacing than it was before. And let's just go with maybe some BFG now. Yeah, this one again, it is one of my daily builds, as you can see, with the rust and weathering. I finally figured out the way to make rust easy for myself, so BFG, with a lot of oomph in it. And completely trash bashed car. Yeah, there's nothing really from normal cars in here. I have 3D printed wheels, and then the rest is plastic art and trash. And hair colors. Oh yeah, I forgot about the 3D printed engine, as I have a giant one and I really wanted to use it. Yeah, but this one is a really crappy, pieces of material that I managed to reuse as something good. And you saw, if you watch the channel all the time, you saw it very recently. This is my second monster truck. I think that some people are still wondering how the heck the drivers are seeing from that. Yeah, and I'm saying, they don't have to see anything, or don't want to see anything in front of them. It's post-apocalypse, and we don't ask questions like that in here. Yeah, like reason and logic is not a part of the game. Mayhem is. Yeah, so let's leave it like that. Yeah, no questions asked. And probably the first time that I use a hair curler in Gaslands. Again, a very crappy car. Actually, a twin of the red car that I showed before. Wait, I gotta grab it. It's exactly the same car as this one. Yeah, and just hair curler everywhere. A little bit of gun, and very nice cutting of the hair curler. Make this lovely harvester. Only thing that I will probably change it for in the future, after I gonna get my minis to the house, I will probably shorten the crow nest on the top, just to accommodate a shooter inside of it, because I think that they actually make it too high. And 14 Days of Gaslands. Yeah, this one is probably the most dynamic looking car in all of them, because of the expanded cartridges from the gun. Yeah, it really creates the feeling of motion in them. And I really hated the car, but it turned out so well that I'm of two minds with it. I hated the original one, but I actually like how it turned out, so win-win. I really like winning, so I'm gonna take every single win I can. And next one, a little bit of car, a little bit of tank, some machine gun, giant engines, smoke launchers. I think that this one just went for overkill, you know, rocket launchers, smoke launchers, minigun. This guy is probably unstoppable or close enough to it, you know, mowing enemies as much as he can. Yeah, when you even look at the car, there is not so much protection. There is just, you know, a couple of armor plates, and you know, he's trying to just keep on moving and keep on mowing enemies. So kudos to him. Yeah, probably my favorite driver. And you know, then just for sanity's sake, something very small, you know, a car built out of 3 different cars, 2 identical, and the third one on top, yeah, boasting a giant flamethrower and enough fuel to last for definitely entire match, and some plow. I still think that the driver gonna be sitting on top instead of this on the bottom cars, yeah, but you know, again, a very nice and chunky build. I like chunky builds, yeah, and in here is definitely much more weathering, much heavier weathering than I used to do in the very first builds. Let's grab something else. My super duper hyper speed car. Yeah, just crappy Lamborghini connected with a part of a Velociracer. Yeah, turned out really, really great. There is, of course, few things that I would change. I still think that, you know, maybe masking the back so you cannot really see under the Lamborghini would be a good choice, or maybe making a wheel covers for the back, but it's wasteland, yeah? Let's ignore stuff like that. Yeah, again, we don't ask questions like this. And now, next, marriage of 2 different cars and 1 spaceship. Yeah, I have a tank that I cut off the turret. I have a car that I get rid of the bottom of, and you know, just put one on top of the other, and added a spaceship as a giant gun, and a barrel as an exploding ram, I guess. But as well, it can work as a communication van, as it have a lot of communication equipment in the back. So yeah, and the color, of course, very not typical for me. And now we are getting back to my favorite color for the cars, yellow. Yeah, very simple car, original yellow color, so I didn't have to screw with the yellow paint, which doesn't like me. I used a lot of 3D printed parts. I have the giant smoke spewer on the roof, is a 3D printed, a minigun on the side 3D printed, then a little bit of plating on the front, and the 2 rocket engines on the side are actually a super glue tubes, caps, and you know, dispensers, I guess. Yep. Let's get somewhat further. This one, yeah, I use a giant rocket from a rocket car as a weapon, a small ram, wheels, you know, extra wheels, but you know, he has smaller wheels, so I don't know what the extra wheels are for exactly. A lot of armor plating, some crap built ram, yeah, just, you know, maybe some protection from zombies, you know, splashing on the front of the car. Yeah, and I kept the original flame decal on the hood just a tiny bit, you know, but still keeping this cool factor on this car. And next one that I kept some original decals, yeah, just a giant gun on the hood, on the roof, a battery on the back and nose as well. A lot of just, you know, meshing around the windows to, you know, catch as much bullets as possible, and you know, giant blade in the front to cut people or maybe cars in half if possible. And again, very simple build, extremely easy paint job, as it was just a dry brushing and some tiny bit of weathering and splashing the blood. And I kept the blue and flames, you know, on the hood, which I'm very happy about. It probably looks better in reality than it looks on the video. And now, fire truck. Yeah, just a very simple conversion. A flamethrower with a barrel of fuel mounted on a truck, and a little bit of, you know, some bags to keep everything in. Very simple, very fast build, and you know, something that pretty much any team can use for themselves. Yeah, and of course it's red, so it is a fire truck. Yeah, nobody argue about that. And again, marriage of two cars, a pickup and Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah, I just put a Volkswagen Beetle on the back of pickup, added some lights, some pipes, some weapons and more stuff, and it created this lovely beastie. And it killed probably a couple of zombies, as you can see, as it is so splashed with blood. Yep. And the seat on the top, you know, can work for your warband leader, you know, to look upon your warband. And BFG, yeah, mounted on a sports car. I don't think that it's gonna be able to move forward when this big gun gonna start shooting. Yeah, but if this gonna start mowing, I don't think that there's anything that will survive it. So yes, the big gun is from a Warhammer 40k tank. What was the name of it? Baneblade, I think. So yeah, it should be mounted on much bigger chassis. But I have only that to mount it on at that moment. So yeah. And you know, just the van with a lot of batteries and, you know, some storage and a lot of rockets. And I don't know, maybe it's a cubicle in the back that they stole from a office. I'm still not sure what is on the back, but I think that I can put some, you know, guys sitting in there having fun, you know, drinking beers and, you know, don't know, just something. Yeah, it's definitely something. I don't know what. Yeah, if you have an idea, give me a shout. Yeah, but I'm still not sure what it is. And this one, again, very simplistic build, something on the roof. I think that there should be a gun there, but I'm not sure. Maybe. Yeah. But you know, big engine, you know, this driver doesn't have a clue where he's going, he's just going. I think that they told him to go straight, yeah? But it was a very simple build, very fun to build. And the paint job again was very simplistic, so I didn't have to struggle with it. And believe me, this is not the end of it. So, we have next flyer that I didn't mount on the base as of yet. So, Mars Federation Racing car, some plastic card wings, wheels as a repulsors, some jet engines made out of a yogurt cups, and cannons made out of a cotton buds and some other empty rods. Very simple, well, not that simple, but quite simple build, and you know, looking quite effectively, especially, you know, with the car that I didn't really like. So, you know, kudos, it looks good. Yeah, I was thinking it's gonna look terrible. Oh. Next, kind of Frankenstein inspired build. Just the RAM in the front, some batteries, something, I don't know, black box in the back, and a giant tombstone. Very simple, and you know, color wise it really fits, you know, to the Frankenstein build. Just, you know, blackish, darkish, you know, gloomy car. Oh, what's next? This is a, I think, Ford something, but you know, it is my emergency car. Yeah, it's very mobile, you know. It's like to, you know, drive by itself to wherever he wants. So we have this one build, and believe me, it ain't gonna stay on this platform. It's gonna roll over at some stage. There we go. it's really up for, for action. And in here, you remember the merger of a tank and a car. These are the rest of the pieces from it. Yeah, I used as the car was having tracks. I used the tracks on this build. I added some engines in the back and the cannon from the tank, to fix it up. I think it's a jet engine that I put on the hood as a wind scoop. So it have two jet engines, yeah, but only one working as it's supposed to be. And this build was very, well, it took me about 40 minutes. I was thinking it was going to take me much longer, but I prepared very well and it was very, very quick. Now, the car that I thought was my first ever, what do you call it? The Warden team car, but it wasn't. Yeah, so it is my next Harvester. Yeah, it is Warden, it is a police car, and you can see that no zombie would escape from that, or no really any prisoner on foot. So it's very mean machine, and it probably have enough fuel to travel the entire distance of the North America with it. So yeah, I wouldn't be willing to go against this one. And I'm losing space on the desk, so yep. And next, fire truck. Yeah, this is more futuristic. A 3D printed cannon on the top, some barrel. I don't remember from what. I think it was from one of the tanks in 1/72nd scale. The ram is actually just some pieces of other car that I made into the ram. And then on the side door, he have a back-facing gun made out of the wire connector. And it's my next fire truck. Yeah, so I have more and more fire trucks in my collection. Oh, this one. Yeah, I was wondering how hard it's going to be to convert this car. It was open top. And I just built it. I built it a very simple roof and added a massive rocket launcher to it. And it turned out just, well, I wouldn't say perfect, but close enough to perfect. Yeah, it was just very surprising how well it turned out from something that I really was struggling to envision the build. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this one, and it's standing on the top of my list of favorite cars by now. And let's go with the BFG. Why not? Yeah. A Necron something, I don't know, sitting on top of this giant car with a giant wheel. The wheel is actually a cast of, all of the wheels are cast of the scratch build wheels that I make for my 40k builds. Yeah, so this really is a lot of 40k parts thrown together. And the car that otherwise would be forgotten, by the annals of time. Yeah, just sitting in a box for years being disassembled. So, okay. And here is another brother from the two cars that I said I built. Yeah, this is just a little bit different build than the previous one, but they are pretty much twinsies. Yeah, a simple build, big spikes made out of plastic art, some power coils made out of resistors for the PC, and a lot of meshing around the windows. Very simple weathering, but it's just going into my fleet of Volkswagen cars. Yeah, and how you can see, there is a lot of them. And in here, yeah, quick, mean, and yellow. Of course, I love yellow. Yeah, everyone knows that I like yellow cars, so there is a lot of them here. Just a barrel on the back, a rocket launcher turret on the top, some small armor, and I left the original paint almost untouched. Of course, it is a little bit splashed with blood, with dust and mud. Yeah, but it's very clean for the cars that I built. Yeah. So let's get to the next one. And next one is, of course, my I don't know what would you call it, trailer. Yeah, my pub trailer. There is a pub window where they sell drinks. There is a upper floor where you can actually go and, you know, drink and sit down in the couches and whatever. Yeah, but you know, it is all around Wasteland Entertainment Center, which have to be pulled by something. I still don't have that something, but it's gonna be pulled by something. Yeah, it is, if, of course, in Wasteland camouflage, which means that it is red. Yeah, I don't know why would people would think that camouflage in Wasteland should be any other color than red. Yes. And next of my Mars Federation builds, again, wheels used as a repulsors, a yogurt caps used as a jet engines, and of course tying all of those builds together is a piece of resistor from the PC, and cotton buds used as a machine guns that actually bullets would be bouncing from each other. Oh, now it's a Facebook baby, yeah? People love that car on the Facebook. It is my next Buzzard that wasn't built actually from Volkswagen. I just spent so much time cutting the pipes to make it. They look like a coral reef at the end. There's a lot of baking soda used on it, yeah? And to be completely honest, it was extremely simple, extremely fast. Only annoying part was actually adding baking soda pretty much to every line of spikes, because otherwise they would break off, you know, every time you would touch that car. So there is baking soda everywhere. It probably weighs twice as much as it was weighing before I started the build. And it was extremely crappy car, so you know, this how well this turned out is amazing from the point of view of this, how bad this car was at the beginning. And now, you know, for those who like science fiction or, you know, Spider-Man, I think it is Dr. Octopus, or, you know, some sort of mechanical life form that grabbed a trash car from the what do you call it, from a junkyard, and starting, you know, attaching armor plates to it, welding them, and have a flamer and some sort of other weapon, you know, just ready for fighting. But it have as well grabber arms and holding plates, you know, cutting them and fitting them to the car around. Yeah, I started building it, and you know, I knew that I wanted the extra arms, but the idea, you know, with the welders and grabbers, you know, was just too good to pass up. So yeah, I really went for it, and I love this car. Yeah, I love how it turned out. It was extremely fun to build, and people love it as well. And now I think that I should have made this car for Halloween, yeah, as it is a monster car. It is, you know, car that was cut in half, and, you know, the monstrous bits started showing off from inside of it. And, you know, it have some teeth, it have a tongue, it have yellow eyes that are menacing as heck, and, you know, it's just all over great looking little car, yeah. And now we are going to extremely recent cars. So let's go with, again, next BFG and the Donner, yeah, a pink killing machine. Two cars merged together by a piece of plastic art and some hair rollers, hair curlers, however you want to call it. Yeah, very simple build, very extremely easy paint job. Yeah, even though I like pastels, but it's hard to paint pastels because they really tend to be, you know, kind of chalky and bad. But this one actually just turned out very well for what it is, yeah. And, you know, you can still see the plate connecting it underneath it, yeah, that I needed to use a hot glue to actually glue it together. There is next of my pinup girls, yeah. This one with a Necron Shield as an energy weapon on the back, and a lot of armor plating covering the most vulnerable pieces of the car. So, you know, especially the driver side is covered completely, you know, the driver really do not want to get hit, yeah, and don't see much from the inside. And wheel trader, yeah, this ladies do not care about going to Mars. They are making their living in Gaslands, you know, selling wheels, and they have a lot of fun doing it. And if someone gets in their way, they have a giant ram and a bus to ram it with, so I don't think that people would get in their way too much. And this one, I regret doing the Nuln oil on it, because it kind of screw up the weathering and everything else. But other than that, it's my ice cream truck, pink ice with a giant freeze ray on top. So next BFG, and the little, what do you call them, those curly parts are actually a hair ties, very cheap hair ties that I bought in pharmacy for like $5 for 10, so 50 cents each. I love it. I wanted to use the hair ties for something bigger, like Gorkonaut, Morkonaut, or anything else like that. But well, this happened. And next, pink machine, giant hood scoop, a ram in the front and the fuel barrels in the back, and of course the yellow is atrocious. I have a flamethrower, so it could be even called a fire truck. Maybe fire car, but no, let's leave it. It is just next Pinup Girls build, and it was quite fun to build. It wasn't very complicated, which is important, when you build a lot of cars quickly, too much complication can lead to problems. And now, of course, a Gaslands Cylon. Again, Pinup Girls build. It is a Necron Destroyer cut in half, glued to a car, and then just added some Necron Flare weapon and some other little pieces. And the pink color really is getting to me. I really start to like it much more than I was liking it before. But I would love to get some more candy looking pink. And again, something simple and fast, a minigun, some gibbons on the hood, and 2 super glue leads as jet engines. Very simple build, looking very nice on the table. So I'm happy, especially when this car was actually see-through, and I didn't like the idea at all. And lady with a big blade in front of her and a giant gun on the side. Again, simple, very simple build, as I didn't cut anything, I didn't attach too much. I have a small armor amount, some extra fuel, and some weapons, just giant ram in the front, and that's it. And it was supposed to be pink, turned out to be purple, but I still have to live with it. And now my half hover car. That's what happened when the creator of the car cannot decide. Is it a hover car or is it a normal car? He puts the wheels in the front, a hover engines in the back. And there's not much else to say about this one. It have some sort of machine gun on the side, and it probably have some sort of friction. I don't know how it would brake with just front wheels on the ground, but I would hope it brakes good enough. Other than that, it was fun. It's sometimes you just have crazy idea and you have to go with it. And of course, how to train your dragon. So crappy dragon, a car that was almost wasted because it was just sitting in the box for months without being properly used. And just marry those two together, put the reins on the dragon, and we have a pet dragon for my team, which it's fun. Not too many dragons in Gaslands. And now my tire doctor. And we definitely know that this girl is a cowgirl. She have a car painted as a cow with a nice sticking to the side a exhaust pipe, giant cannon, some horns, and of course a lot of tires in the back. And I think that this is it. There is one more car that unfortunately I dropped and it fell into pieces and I cannot find all of them. It was probably one of the most complicated builds that I ever made. So I'm sorry I cannot show it off. But that's it. This is an entire collection of my cars. And it's surprisingly big by now. So of course, you know, if you like it, please rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, family, and a lot of strangers if you can, please. And of course, this is the end of the video. Everybody have a lovely day and take care.